Hello there, it's midnight sharp and you're watching World News Program with me, Marim Zian. To the headlines. President Tebboune highlights challenges in African education, reaffirms Algeria's commitment to supporting the continent's development. On the sidelines of the Education and Youth Employability Conference, President Tebboune meets with Senegalese President Rwandan President Paul Kagame in Nouakchott to discuss ways to enhance cooperation between Algeria and Rwanda. Also coming up in Syria, Mohammed al-Bashir officially takes over as head of the transitional government. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan reaffirms support for Syria's recovery, while Qatar rejects using the current situation to violate Syrian sovereignty. Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes target Damascus with forces stationed 25 kilometers from the capital. And 25 were martyred in the massacre by Israeli occupation in Beit Hanun, northern Gaza. Dozens were injured in an airstrike across the Strip, and 4 massacres in 24 hours leave 21 martyrs. Welcome back to the details of our program. First in our news file, Algerian President Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune returned to Algeria from Mauritania after participating in the Continental Conference on Education, Youth and Employability held in Nouakchott. President Tebboune was received at Houari Boumediene International Airport in Algiers by Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbaoui, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of People's National Army Saïd Chingriha, and the Director of the Presidential Office, Boualam Boualam. Algerian Head of State Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune stated on Tuesday that education in Africa faces significant challenges, including a large number of children not attending school and restricted access to quality in education. In his speech at the Continental Conference on Education held in Nouakchott, President Tebboune emphasized that the constitutional guarantees of free and compulsory education in Algeria pose significant challenges. He noted that the number of students in Algeria has exceeded 12 million just this year.
ليس خافيا أن التعليم في قارتنا يعرف للأسف واقعا صعبا من مظاهر ارتفاع عدد الأطفال غير الملتحقين بالمدارس وانخفاض فرص الحصول على تعليم ملائم ونقص الموارد لتكوين المواطنين. وأود في هذه المناسبة أن أوجز لمحة مختصرة لتجربة بلادي في هذا الموضوع، التي يكفل فيها الدستور الجزائري إلزامية ومجانية التعليم، وهي تجربة تكشف ضخامة تحدياتنا الوطنية. فقد بلغ تعداد التلاميذ في الدخول المدرسي لهذه السنة أكثر من 12 مليون تلميذ، متمدرسين في مؤسسات التربية والتعليم الابتدائي والمتوسط والثانوي، بعد أن كان لا يتجاوز 900 ألف عند استقلالنا في 1962.
President Tebboune highlighted Algeria's commitment to advance in education by integrating technological tools and establishing specialized national schools in mathematics and artificial intelligence. Let's have a listen.
وبالرغم من المؤشرات التي ذكرناها على سبيل الأمثلة على تحدياتنا الوطنية في مجال التعليم، حرصنا في استراتيجيتنا الموجهة لترقية التعليم والتكوين على إدماج الوسائل التكنولوجية في الابتدائي، من بينها التعليم باللوحات الرقمية في ابتداء من الابتدائي، وإدخال اللغات الأجنبية ومنها الفرنسية والإنجليزية في الابتدائي الطور الثالث من الابتدائي. وإضافة عززنا هذا التوجه نحو العلوم والتكنولوجيات بإنشاء مدارس وطنية عليا متخصصة في الرياضيات التطبيقية والذكاء الاصطناعي والتكنولوجيات نانو تكنولوجيا والذكاء الاصطناعي والروبوتيك وغيرهما.
Algerian president affirmed Algeria's significant contributions to the development of education in Africa, including hosting students from various African countries, offering scholarships and constructing and rehabilitating schools.
انطلاقا من الروح الأصيلة في سياسة بلاد الخارجية المبنية على أولوية التضامن الإفريقي، لم تدخر الجزائر جهداً للمساهمة في النهوض بمجالات التربية والتعليم والتكوين في قارتنا، حيث تستقبل طلاب من مختلف الدول الإفريقية الشقيقة في الجامعات ومعاهد التكوين والتدريب. وفي هذا الصدد بدون من أشير فقط إلى أن عدد طلبة أفارقة الأشقاء الموجودين حاليا في الجزائر يقارب 6000 طالب، يعني 6000 منحة، مع التزام بلدي لمنح كل سنة 2000 منحة دراسة سنوية في التعليم العالي و500 منحة دراسية في التكوين المهني للطلبة الأفارقة. ونعتز اليوم أمامكم في هذا المحفل الإفريقي الموقر بالوصول إلى توفير فرص التعليم والتكوين إلى يومنا هذا إلى 65,000 شاب إفريقي في مختلف التخصصات. وبالإضافة إلى هذا الجهد تعمل بلادي على بناء وتأهيل مدارس في عدة من الدول الإفريقية.
And in the same context, President Tebboune reiterated Algeria's firm commitment to enhancing continental cooperation through a student exchanges program amid African nations.
ألتزم أمام فخامة الرئيس أخي العزيز محمد الشيخ الغزواني وموسى فقيه رئيس المفوضية أن الجزائر تلتزم من هذا الاجتماع للرفع من هذه الأرقام، كما تلتزم في إطار المؤسسة الجزائرية الحالية، الوكالة الحالية للتعاون مع الدول الإفريقية، إلى فتح بند خاص بالنسبة للتعليم حسب الطلب نتاع أشقائنا الأفارقة. كل هذه المجهودات تعكس انخراطنا في الجهود المشتركة لترقية نظام التعليم في قارتنا، ويؤكد إرادتنا الراسخة في تعزيز التعاون والتضامن القاري في جسور التواصل في بعد الإنساني.
The Algerian head of state stressed that education is the foundation of development and national independence for African nations.
أساس التنمية وأساس الاحتفاظ على استقلالنا الوطني كلنا أساسه التعليم والتربية. وعلى هذا الأساس وصلنا اليوم في الجزائر إلى ما يقارب 30%، وأقول 30% من الجزائريات والجزائريين هم حاليا في المدارس والثانويات والجامعات، بحيث في تعداد سكان يقارب 47 مليون نسمة. حاليا يوجد في التعليم الابتدائي والمتوسط والتعليم العالي والتكوين المهني ما يقارب 15 مليون تلميذ وطالب يدرسون مجانا، وهم حاليا الثروة الحقيقية لبلدي. وكل تقدم والرقي لا يأتي إلا بهذه الأرقام.
Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Al Ghazouani stated that Africa remains the most lagging continent in achieving sustainable development goals due to limited school access and insufficient use of technology. Speaking at the Continental Conference on Education, Youth and Employability, Al Ghazouani noted the modest state of educational achievement and infrastructure in Africa.
Our continent is witnessing several difficulties to face the huge challenges economically, socially, environmentally, and on the security level, which are partially resulted from its inability to build educational systems that ensure inclusiveness and quality in a way that puts it in a high stature, in acquiring knowledge and skills that allow our youth regarding training and employment to free their creative energy to be eventually the boost of development and prosperity.
And the chairperson of the African Union expressed the hopes of African leaders that the conference's outcomes will contribute to the advancement of education on the continent. Here's Moussa Faqih.
This continental forum allows specialists and experts to exchange about the most important challenges facing our educational systems, starting from curriculum and training, and the elimination of disparities and inequalities, and also in terms of financing, inclusiveness and quality. And our presence today, along with our brothers, their excellencies, the presidents, is a way to express our support for the aims and goals of this forum. We also hope that the outcomes of this forum will lighten the road towards achieving the necessary skills and competencies, as well as the use of modern techniques and the support of the attractiveness and security of schools and training of teachers, and supporting their abilities and evolving their working conditions, and raising the levels of investment in education and enhancing multilateral partnership for this goal.
This was the statement of Mohamed Al Ghazouani as well, and the African Union Commission chairperson Moussa Faqih Mohamed called for empowering African youth with access to transformative scientific and digital revolutions.
لا يجوز أن نقبل أن يكون اجتماعنا هذا رفيع المستوى.
We cannot accept that our meeting is just a meeting for the sake of a meeting, but rather a meeting with a clear approach, driven by strong will for evaluation and achievement, aimed at empowering the youth with a spirit of solidarity and creative scientific and digital innovation.
والثورة العلمية والرقمية الخلاقة.
President Abdelmajid Tebboune held bilateral talks with Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, according to a statement from the Algerian presidency. The meeting took place on the sidelines of the Continental Conference on Education, Youth and Employability in Nouakchott. President Tebboune also met with Rwandan President Paul Kagame at his residence in Nouakchott. The meeting occurred when Tebboune welcomed Kagame at his residence during the conference. And on Monday evening, Presidents Tebboune and Kagame held an expanded meeting in Nouakchott, attended by delegations from both nations at Tebboun's residence. According to the Algerian presidency, the meeting focused on exploring avenues of cooperation between Algeria and Rwanda. And in Syria, Mohammed al-Bashir announced his official appointment to head a transitional government until March 1st, 2025. In a press conference on Tuesday, al-Bashir confirmed his appointment to lead the Syrian government during the transitional period, which could conclude by March 1st. He also added that he held a meeting with the previous government to organize the transfer of power to the so-called Salvation Government.
Today, a cabinet session was held. The title of the session was to transfer institutions and files to the Syrian interim government in order to receive these files and conduct business. This means that there will be a Syrian government to conduct business during a transitional period that may end on March 1st. This assignment was from the General Command. We were assigned to conduct affairs for the Syrian government until March 1st, 2025.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan affirmed that his country will support Syria with all available means to help it recover as soon as possible. In press statements on Tuesday, Erdogan said that the Syrian people carried out a genuine revolution and achieved success. He added that the unity of Syria's land and people is extremely important and is unreasonable to jeopardize this under the pretext of the presence of any terrorist organization.
We will not allow Syria to turn into a region of bloodshed and conflicts. I tell everyone that we will not allow another division of Syria from now on, and we will do what is necessary for the Syrian people to reach safety and peace. We will support Syria by all means in order for it to rise as soon as possible. Turkey has sacrificed a lot until the situation in Syria reached this success. Any person or party that tries to attack Syria will find the Syrian people in front of it, and we will stand by its side at that time.
Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesperson Majid al-Ansari stressed the necessity of avoiding foreign intervention in Syria. He reiterated Qatar's rejection of any party, including the Israeli occupation, exploiting the current situation in Syria to violate its sovereignty. In a press conference on Tuesday, al-Ansari called on all parties in Syria to work together to preserve the country's territorial unity and achieve consensus domestically and internationally.
As for the position on the Israeli opportunism, we say very clear that this cannot be accepted in the context of the international community. This is not the law of the jungle. There is international law, there is international legitimacy. There are international institutions, and there is the unity and integrity of Syrian territory that must be respected. It cannot be accepted that any party, including the Israeli occupation, exploit this opportunity to occupy the territory of another sovereign state. And Israeli sovereignty has not been violated for any reason other than this Israeli violation. Today, the Syrian people have an opportunity to achieve their ambitions, an opportunity to express the sacrifices they have made in order to reach their freedom.
Iranian government spokesperson Fatima Mohajirani emphasized the importance of respecting Syria's territorial integrity. She added that the Syrian people should independently determine their country's future. In a press conference, Mohajirani noted that Iran's relations with Syria are based on respect for the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Zionist warplanes conducted airstrikes on the Syrian capital Damascus early on Tuesday. According to media reports, Damascus, its surroundings were shaken by intense explosions caused by Israeli airstrikes. Reports indicate that over 100 airstrikes targeted various areas in Syria, including an air defense facility in Latakia port, Khalkhala air base in southern Syria, and Mezza airport in Damascus. Zionist ground forces advanced 25 kilometers south of Damascus. Local media sources reported that Zionist forces entered over 25 kilometers into the buffer zone with Syria and conducted airstrikes on military sites and weapon depots in various parts of the country. Still in Syria, UN Special Envoy to Syria, Geir Pedersen, called for a halt to Israeli airstrikes and ground incursions into Syrian territory. In press statements, Pedersen emphasized the need to stop the ongoing Zionist incursion in Syria. He described the airstrikes as concerning and called for reliable transitional arrangements in and around Damascus to ensure security and stability.
And then a very troubling development. We are continuing to see Israeli movements and bombardments into Syrian territory. This needs to stop.
Moving on to the developments in occupied Palestine, more than 20 Palestinians were martyred in a massacre by Israeli occupation forces in Beit Hanun in northern Gaza. Palestinian medical sources reported that the death toll had risen to 25 martyrs as a result of a horrific massacre carried out by Israeli occupation forces in the Ain al-Khalut family home in Beit Hanun. Also, 24 Palestinians were martyred and others injured due to airstrikes carried out by the Israeli occupation's aircraft targeting central Gaza since early today. This comes amid heavy aerial and artillery shelling directed at the eastern areas of the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. And UNRWA confirmed that the suffering in Gaza has shaken many people's faith in human rights. On Tuesday, marking the anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UNRWA in Gaza stated that the tragic situation in northern Gaza has shattered the faith of most people in human rights, an issue that we all share responsibility for protecting, promoting, and building a future where accountability is respected without delay.
The scale of the suffering in the Gaza Strip has shaken many people's faith in human rights. The right to safety, dignity, protection from violence and displacement, and water are rights denied to Palestinians in Gaza, not privileges. The rights denied to people in Gaza are the very rights that are meant to protect us all. We all have a stake in ensuring that these rights are respected in Gaza.
And in other developments, the final statement of the International Symposium of Jurists for Western Sahara held at the European Parliament headquarters in Strasbourg, France, emphasized the need to implement the recent ruling of the EU Court of Justice. The Court's decision invalidates agreements between the European Union and Morocco due to their inclusion of the occupied Sahrawi territories. In the same context, the Sahrawi National Committee for Human Rights condemned the criminal acts committed by the Moroccan occupation against Sahrawis in the occupied Sahrawi territories. In a statement issued on the occasion of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the committee emphasized that the Moroccan occupation perpetrates the most heinous violations in the occupied Sahrawi territories, southern Morocco, and Moroccan university campuses. Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune emphasized that the 64th anniversary of December 11, 1960 demonstrations highlights profound meanings of loyalty and dedication to the homeland. In a message marking the occasion, President Tebboune stressed that these demonstrations, amid the harsh historical conditions of that time, served as a voice for freedom and dignity and a cry for justice against colonial oppression and tyranny.
On every occasion tied to our national memory, we are reminded of the duty to honor the sacrifices of the Algerian people and to bow in reverence to the arduous struggles and profound battles that contemporary history has recorded as lessons in devotion to freedom. The 64th anniversary of December 11, 1960 demonstrations comes to highlight the profound meaning of loyalty and devotion to the nation. Amidst the harsh historical circumstances of the time, these demonstrations were a voice for freedom and dignity, a cry for justice against tyranny and colonial domination. They unequivocally affirmed the solidarity of the Algerian people and their unity in the furence of the glorious liberation revolution, firmly rooted in the objectives set forth by Immortal Declaration of November 1st.
Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune sent a message of condolence to the family of the late former national team player for the Algerian national team, football team, Mahieddine Khalef. A statement from the Algerian presidency clarified that in his condolence message, President Tebboune described the late Mahieddine Khalef as having a distinguished sporting record, playing for JS Kabylie and as part of the technical staff of the Algerian national team with notable contributions to the national team's successes, such as the heroic feat in the 1982 World Cup. May God grant peace to his soul and strength to his family. And to cultural news now, the city of Constantine will host the 12th edition of the International Malouf Music Festival over 5 days, starting from December 14. This year's edition, held under the theme Malouf, Constantine's First Bridge and Eternal Voice, will feature the participation of 20 artists representing 10 countries. The festival will honor Palestine as a guest of honor, celebrating its culture and heritage. 5 musical evenings will be organized at the Grand Lecture Hall, Ahmed Bey in Constantine.
The new vision means that we move beyond our comfort zone and open up to neighboring countries that enrich Malouf, love it, and are passionate about it. Some European and Asian countries have expressed interest in participating in this edition. We, as welcoming country, offer the opportunity for all countries that wish to join us in this celebration. Besides Tunisia, we also have guests from Syria, Jordan, Palestine as the guest of honor, Russia, Iran, and Japan, making a total of 10 countries.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for tonight's program. Thanks for watching and have a great night.